and Chief Operating Officer David Forsyth. We'll start with a short statement from David.
Yeah, just a really quick good morning to everyone. Thanks for coming. Just to say we're absolutely delighted to introduce Lee as the new manager of Huddersfield Town this morning. So really exciting time, can't wait to get started, and we'll hand over to Jamie from Radio Leeds to get us going.
Thank you very much, Dave. Thank you. Lee, great to meet you. Congratulations on this position. Just firstly, how do you feel to be in this role as Huddersfield Town manager?
Yeah, I'm obviously ecstatic. Super excited to get started with the work. Proud and honest, proud and honoured, obviously, to have been given this wonderful opportunity. Jake and Kevin have put their trust in me, and I'm really excited about repaying that with hard work and hopefully some good results as well.
When was contact first made? Then how did this process unfold?
Really quickly, I have to say, really quickly. Obviously, I've been in a wonderful job for the last 3 years and enjoyed my time at Ipswich immensely. And the process caught me a little bit off guard, but once that process began, and Ipswich obviously were fantastic in the way they dealt with Huddersfield. The relationship there is obviously really good. It was really clear to me that there was one decision to be made, and that process gathered speed really quickly towards the end of the season, and I'm sat here now, ready to rock and roll.
What was it about this role that enticed you? Why is this job the right one for you in your stage of your career?
Yeah, I mean, look, there's so many components to that that are important to acknowledge. Of course, committed ownership, really important for me. In terms of infrastructure, the football club is in a really solid position on a solid foundation. We're sitting in a wonderful stadium, a wonderful arena to come and play football, come and watch football. In terms of the work that's gone on across the training ground over the last year or so, I've been across that, and it's been good work. Had a really good opportunity yesterday to see some of that in the flesh. And as I say, that drive, that hunger and that enthusiasm that Kevin's shown since his arrival at the football club was made pretty clear pretty quickly to myself, and again, one of the most important factors in terms of my decision-making process. Because look, the reality is I was in a really good job under probably one of the brightest managers in Britain right now, certainly in Europe in my opinion, and I wasn't going to take that decision to leave that job lightly, but with Kieran's blessing, of course, and with with all of the things that were on offer here in terms of the squad that's been put together, and of course what we're looking to put together over the course of the next few weeks and months, a really exciting opportunity, and one that I can't wait to get my teeth stuck into.
It leads me on to my next question, really. What are your priorities then coming into this role? I don't think we can overlook the enormity of the task at hand for this football club, with such high expectations and such a desire to get back into the Championship.
I think you've hit the nail on the head, and I think part of the reason, again going back to your previous question, part of the reason why I've taken the step is because the alignment that the club have shown in terms of where we both want to be and how we both want to get there is really, really, we're in a really good place with that. And look, yes, there's work to be done. Yes, lots of it. The club have trusted me to do that, and I feel like I'm in a really good place to get my teeth stuck into that. We've got to attack the playing squad, yes. We've got to look at a lot of the things that have affected the team last year. I spent a lot of time already getting right into the weeds on that. I think I've got a really good handle on what we need to do in terms of putting on a playing product that the team can really get behind, believe and trust in, but also the people in the stands that arrive in the stadium at the weekend can really connect with and really resonate with. And that's high on my agenda right now. Of course, the nuts and bolts of that are finding really good players that can play within that, have the athletic and the mental capability to sustain that across the course of a really long, hard season. We've all seen how tough this League One is, and how long and arduous it can be. I've seen and experienced how that plays out across the course of a really hard season, and what's needed to survive and be successful in the division as well. So I'm really looking forward to implementing some of those bits really early on, and demanding and pushing that from the players as well.
You're obviously very experienced in football. it was a turbulent end to last season, concluded a turbulent time for the football club in truth. How much are you walking into this role with your eyes wide open in terms of you'll understand the inside track and your understanding will continue to grow, but the exterior view of the football club is that it has been turbulent. So how much are you eyes wide open coming into this role?
Yeah, it's a good question. And look, part of what I see as a really fantastic opportunity now is the opportunity for myself and my coaching team, of course, working alongside Jake and Kevin, is to actually create a new framework and a new template for the club moving forward. Now, look, there's been some wonderful work done, in my opinion, at the football club over the course of the last 12, 18, 24 months. Wonderful work. Lots of that gets lost in results and where the club has found itself over the, in its recent history. Now, what I propose to do and what I think is really important we do is build on all of that work, good infrastructure work, finding really good people behind the scenes, developing good practice and good process. That's what Kevin's been pushing really hard for. That's what Jake's been pushing really hard for. And part of my goal is to continue that work, but certainly from a playing perspective, certainly from a culture perspective and an environment and learning perspective, they're all the things that we're looking to really drive home. And as I say, we're trying to do that in such a way that it will look and feel a bit different to what's gone before. I am my own man. I'm a result of all of the things and the places and experiences I've had. But we're certainly going to look to drive and create this new template and push forward. And obviously stand upon the good work that's gone before, but create a new product and one that we can all get behind.
If you can, just explain to us how that new template will look, because one of the big points is potentially a lack of faith from some supporters in regards to the structure of the football club right now. So how will that new template look under your stewardship?
Well, firstly, look, the level of responsibility I've been given is huge. So I'm the manager of the football club and I'm really excited about that. So that means from this point forward, the players you see coming in the door are players that I want, and I want them to be here, and I'm excited to have and work with. And of course, that means the values they need to share and have are the values that I want and want to see. And I think, and hopefully I've articulated that already to the fans in the bits that I've already spoken to them about, is I think the qualities that we're going to have and display are qualities that Huddersfield Town really need. So we want players that can work really hard, first and foremost. We want players that are and have a desire to be here for the right reasons, but are hungry, enthusiastic and motivated, have bright eyes, ready to work every day, the same as I am, the same as my staff will be. They're all the things that we're looking to recruit, and those are the things that we're looking to demand from the boys that are here as well. So this is not just about who's coming in the door, and we're very much about what we've got, what we can develop, what we can improve, and what we can sustain that's already been good. So it will look different, it will feel different. From a playing perspective, again, I've touched on it briefly, but I'm my own man. I want to play in my own way. This is not going to be a style of football that I don't think the fans will like. I think the fans are going to love it. I think they're going to enjoy it. I certainly believe the players are going to enjoy training it. And I think in terms of that belief and trust, it works both ways, so I've got to earn it for sure. They're going to have to turn up on day one and feel like this is something they can get behind, and that's my goal. That's my goal, is to make sure that really clearly from day one, everybody in the stands is able to say, I like the look of this, whether we win, we lose, we draw. I enjoy seeing this product. I enjoy seeing the boys try hard to implement what the staff and what the manager's screaming at them from the sides. So look, my belief and my trust is that it works both ways. We can demand it from each other as staff, as players, and certainly, we look to get that from the people in the stands.
How long will that take to implement? As you rightly point out, football can be cruel. It is a results-based industry, and when there is that clamour to be successful, the time available to someone to implement that plan can be quite short. Manager, 3-year deal. So what does that represent? Is that an alignment across the board that there is a degree of patience in regards to achieving what you, as your own man, want to achieve?
look, again, going back to your very first question, which I think was a really good one, part of the reason I came here was because there was really clear goals from upstairs on what the short, medium and long looks like. The short for me looks like winning lots of football matches, doing so in such a way that we've got an excited fan base, really happy owner and really happy players. And I think those two things go hand in hand, by the way. So in terms of time and in terms of what leeway I'm given, I'm looking to get results quickly. And I really want that to be in terms of style, in terms of character of the team, in terms of personality of the team. I want that to be evident from day one. I want people to come to wherever we are in pre-season, watch games and already get a sense of what we're trying to achieve. And look, that's my job, that's the coaching team's job, and really looking forward to getting started on that.
Recruitment, a big factor, of course. How will that recruitment team look? I touched on the fact that you're named as manager. Will there be a sporting director coming in to help with that recruitment process and the overall operation at the football club? Yeah,
look, these are things that the football club, over the course of short and medium term, need to really dive into and assess and understand. We're still settling into a new manager. We're going to be settling into a good chunk of a new squad as well. We've seen people leave and we're going to see people come in the door. So there's plenty of flux, there's plenty of work to be done. Some of the dust needs to settle on some of that. It's for me, for Jake, for Kevin to really put our heads together to assess how this needs to look structurally and how this can serve us all really well. There's plenty of skills within the building right now to make sure we're in a good place come the start of the season. That's the focus right now. What we do going forward from that point is really important. It's important we get those decisions right. But I'd like to think from, everybody externally can see from the decisions that the club have taken, particularly in appointing a young manager, it feels different. It feels like a step change for the football club. I think people can rest assured that due process, due diligence is happening, good governance, all of that stuff is happening to a really high level at the football club, and key decisions will be made accordingly to leave the football club in a really good position structurally.
Forgive me for digging a bit deeper on that point, and just for absolute clarity, it's not yet been decided by the club whether there will be a sporting director or not at this football club.
As I said, we need to make those decisions, we need to be clear on it, we need to be clear on what works for Jake, for Kevin and for myself, and we certainly need time to do that effectively. That's not a decision we're going to rush, that's not a decision we're going to push ourselves on.
You highlighted a point there that I'm sure you're very well aware of coming into this role. Every decision will be met with scrutiny. With it being your first managerial role, there will be some questions by some that may say, have we got enough experience now in the dugout? So what would be your direct response to those that maybe question that?
Yeah, and I think it's a fair question. But what I would say is that there are no guarantees. And I think anyone such as yourself that's been in it long enough has seen the full raft of decision-making processes, happen, and have seen the wide-ranging, results of those decisions. Now, at Huddersfield in particular, you've seen coaches come in with huge levels of experience, and you've seen coaches come in with less experience, and you've seen a David Wagner come in who hasn't led a team. You've seen a Carlos Corberán come in who hasn't led a team, and we've seen success on the back of that. If you look at League One over the course of the last 3 or 4 years, and you take John Massinho, Kieran McKenna, Stephen Schumacher, Chris Davis, the list goes on. I think you can start to create a picture of this can work, this can work, and this can work in the middle. What I'm really pleased about is that Huddersfield Town and myself have huge alignment on what we think has got a really great chance of working for Huddersfield this year, and that the trust and the belief is there for me to be the man to push it forward. So that's my main concern, and I know that people have those opinions, and absolutely they're entitled to those, of course.
And my final question to you, this is born from just complete interest alone. How does a keeper become such an effective attacking coach?
I think, as with anything, to be successful in any walk of life, it's work. There are no shortcuts. There is no secret sauce. And for me, in terms of the position I played as a player, the goal was always really clear, and we've seen it. And again, there's been enough evidence across Premier League, across Europe. Fran Farioli, Nuno, Juan Lopetegui, the list goes on. There's been plenty of people that have done wonderful things from my position on the pitch, but really just comes down to work. So the work that I've been putting in is well into over a decade now, well into the back end of my playing career. Yes, I was at Manchester United as a player. In reality, that was a player-coach role. I think anybody that looks at my appearances for Manchester United will see that quite quickly. Spent more time in the office studying, understanding, listening, learning, absorbing from really top people, and that leads me to be in this seat today, and that excites me greatly. And as I said at the beginning, really excited to get my teeth stuck into the work.
Best of luck with it, Lee.
Thank you very much.
Good to meet you. Thank you.
Cheers, Jamie. We'll just come to Stephen Chicken from We Are Terriers.
Hi there, good to meet you.
Hi, Stephen.
Could you possibly talk us through how you would see your team playing in an ideal world? I appreciate this may change depending on recruitment, etc. in the pre-season, but in an ideal world.
Yeah, you make a good point, because one of the first parts of that is profiling what we've got in the building already. So being really clear on whose strengths and capabilities lie where. So there's work to be done on that. Some of that work can obviously be done prior to me, seeing the players in the flesh, but some of the real gems and the golden detail of that is seeing the players on the grass. So hugely excited about that. But in terms of the team and how it will look from a real high level sort of overview perspective, it's going to be a team that's going to be aggressive, absolutely. So I want the team to attack the game physically and mentally. Now that's not easy, that's a lot of demand on the players. But I want us to be a really fit side, and I'm going to make it really clear to the players that for us to be successful this year, we have to be fit and we have to be athletic. So you can expect to see that from my team. We will be recruiting for that as well. I think that's important for us to be competitive this year. We have to have and find that edge physically. We want to be a dominant side, and I think look, I've been fortunate to be around some really excellent managers that understand intrinsically what it means and how to coach and how to live and breathe that. We want to take the ball and be brave. That's not easy, so we understand that we have to help the players with that. I understand the division we're playing in, and I understand the context and the dynamic of that. And I also understand that we don't live in a perfect world. So there will be a degree of me having to be clear with the players on that. I'm not a possession-based coach. I want to make that clear as well. But absolutely we will. And as a byproduct of the work we do on the training ground every day, we will dominate the football and we will have control in games. And I want that to be the case. I want us to feel like a dominant team. So we will coach that and we will encourage that from the players. And then I want us to be a really hard-working, proactive team. And I think those are probably three core fundamentals of the language we will use with the players, how we will deliver, and what people will be able to see and really resonate with as a Lee Grant Huddersfield Town team. A team that is working with and without the football, a team that is looking for work, not just sitting back and hoping the work will come to them, looking for jobs, helping their teammates, and really taking the game on. So a little bit in there, lots in there, but hopefully it gives you a little flavour of what it is you'll see next year.
I think we saw last season in particular a lot of games where Town had loads of the ball, bit the work in the final third, struggling to break teams down, particularly some of those at the bottom end of the division if they were sitting in, made it difficult to break them down. But obviously goal scoring record at Ipswich, where you were coaching the forwards, was excellent. So what are the issues as you see them or as you're aware of them at the moment, and how do you turn that round?
Yeah, it's important we address that. It really is. So to do that, we need to be aggressive. So again, we have to be aggressive with our running, and we have to be aggressive with our mentality. a lot of the success that we were able to achieve in my previous job was done through knowing the structure, having a really clear and coherent picture of what's required, the players taking the time to understand that detail. Again, part of my job and part of my staff's job will be to make that palatable for the players and package it in such a way that they're really clear on it, and then executing really well. So finding creative ways, whether we're attacking a back four or attacking a back five, finding creative ways to challenge that back four or back five. Now, I don't want to give too much away, obviously, but I have some really clear ideas and principles on how we do that. And whether that's structurally, in terms of which players and which positions supplement and aid the attack, or whether that's, as I said earlier, through a mentality, or it may even end up being a physical aspect. So, again, lots of the success I've had, and look, I think it was 101 goals and 90-something goals in the Championship the following season. You have to work hard for each and every one of those goals, and you have to really plan for it, you have to coach it, and the players have to work hard to understand the detail that goes into it. So there's work to be done on it. I'm well aware of what needs to be done and how we need to go about it. And again, really excited to get started with that, and I think the players are going to enjoy that work. That's the most important thing.
I presume part of the appeal, I think you touched on it already, but part of the appeal of coming here, I presume, is, you know, there's been a lot of turnover in the squad with releases, players going back from loan. It's a real opportunity for you to build something in your own image, isn't it?
Well, yeah. Look, I touched on it earlier. There is a real opportunity at this moment to shape and create something new, and the squad has evolved over the course of this summer. And look, the turnover is pretty normal, actually. If you look across the EFL, League Two, League One, the Championship, the turnover of players is you're generally in that sort of 6 to 8 to 10 player region, and Huddersfield Town are no different. So, yeah, look, this summer that gives us an opportunity, and myself and my staff, Jake and Kevin, an opportunity to really put some pieces together that are going to help the team this year. We want to do that. We also want to have one or two faces come in the door that excite people. I want one or two faces to come in the door that excite me, and I can really look forward to helping develop. And a lot of the good work that I've been a part of over the last 3 years in particular has come through helping players get better and helping players travel through the divisions and perhaps reach places that they weren't sure they could reach at the outset. So that's the exciting part for me. It's actually why I'm in it for a job. It's the real fun part. So looking forward to doing that, and yeah, it's an exciting time with regards to that.
Yeah, that's it. We always talk about new signings, particularly in the summer, but shouldn't forget there are some players there, perhaps some who underperformed last season, but do you feel there's enough there, you know, as a core group to at least start working with in some positions, and are you excited by some of the potential you see in that squad? Absolutely, is the answer to that question. Absolutely. There's some really good players already in situ at this football club, and look, for different reasons and for varying reasons, some have found their level this year and some haven't found their level. My job is to make sure we get as many of those players that are here with us and on the journey for the start of next season, really firing on all cylinders. And part of my thinking and part of the football club's thinking and how we go about doing that is having excellent people to help us achieve that. So myself, my staff, people that are experienced in helping people develop, grow, be better, that's what we're looking to have in the door, and really give those players that opportunity and that platform. So that's the goal, and without a doubt, there's been some really good work in terms of recruitment that's gone on previously as well, and I'm really excited to get started working with these boys, really excited. So I want them to come back in with the same energy and the same enthusiasm to grow and develop and be better themselves, and that gives us a really good chance to have a good season. Can we expect you to bring in your own coaching staff in the near future as well?
Yeah, and again, in line with everything else that's happened over the course of the last week, it's important that we get that right, and I get that right. We're close. We're really close to being able to give you some more on that. But in terms of the support that the club have given me to bring in the right people, and we're talking about people that are top developers, that's what's going to be on offer. So really excited to be able to give you that. Can't quite give you the whole package yet. I'd love to give you it right now, but I want to give it to you all in one piece. So we'll get that across to you as soon as we can, and that'll be an exciting one for the players as well, I'm sure.
That's all from me. Welcome to Huddersfield.
No worries, thank you.
Cheers, Stephen. We'll just come to Stuart Graham from the Yorkshire Post.
Hi Lee, welcome to Huddersfield. Good to see you.
Thank you very much.
We talk a lot. We ask a lot when managers come of the chairmen and executives and so on about the homework they've done in identifying you. I just wonder, from your perspective, as you said, you're in a good job. You had a good reputation. You're obviously in a strong position. So what homework did you do in terms of deciding that this was the right place for you to be?
A lot. Spoke to a lot of people in the industry. I'm fortunate that my network's quite big, and across players, across other coaches, across other managers, across sporting directors, and I spoke to probably at least one or two in all of those positions, because it's a big decision for me, and one that I don't take lightly. But unequivocally, everybody came back with what a huge and fantastic football club this is, and you then go down the route of trying to understand the people that are within the football club, and it led me to a place where, of course, I'm sat here now, but the first thing that struck me was the energy and the commitment and the enthusiasm that Kevin was looking to drive the football club with, and that stood out a mile for me. And that spoke a lot to my own energy and my own intensity about how I want to work, and what I want to give to a football club. And yeah, look, very quickly upon meeting Kevin and sharing some time with him, I was excited by what I heard, and really looking forward to, heading down that pathway and attacking the project with the same vigour that he does. So.
Yeah, because we talk a lot about expectations as if it's a bad thing, but I guess is that what you really need, that expectation to sort of match your drive and push you further?
Without question. So, look, there've been other clubs and other interests and other opportunities, but none that matched Huddersfield Town. And none that matched the direction that Huddersfield Town are looking to head in over the short and medium term. So, as I say, the alignment on that was really clear, and really exciting for me. I want to be winning football matches. I want to be at the right end of the division. I want to have the weight and the pressure and of the expectation from the fans, and that's what we're in the game for. I've thrived on that as a player, and it's the only place to be. So yeah, as I said, really excited about that prospect and getting stuck into the work on that half. Yeah.
And obviously you've talked about your network and how you've used it already. Are you planning to use it a lot over the summer, or are you sort of clear in your mind now where you're going?
That started already. So as you can imagine, I'm sure that the phone hasn't stopped ringing. The life of a manager has already begun in that respect. So yes, there will be people I lean on in my network, across sporting directors, across heads of recruitment, across scouts, across other players, across coaches, because I think it's important to exhaust every avenue when it comes to securing the best players, the best process, and everything else for the football club that I'm working for now. Of course, within all of that, I have to stay steady in the middle, and I have to stay balanced. So my guiding principles won't be changed or affected by the odd phone call here or there. But certainly there's people I trust within the game that I can listen to and lean on a little bit if need be. But for sure at this moment in time, it's finding that balance of what's right for me and what can help supplement that as well.
And we've seen in the very recent past, with Ipswich and Birmingham, the success new managers have had in this division. Do you feel like this is a good level in terms of you having the autonomy, the turnover of players, the right level of sort of expectation and freedom and what have you to start out as a manager?
I do see it as a good opportunity. Whether it's right for everybody or it's right for anybody else, I don't know. I really can only speak to what's right for myself at this point in time for my career. And this level of opportunity and my level of readiness and the timing, I think just meet at the right time and the right moment. And look, my goal is to make that work. And as I say, whether it would work for somebody else of a similar age in a different stage of their career, I don't know. For me, it really is a case of a real readiness, the timing being correct, the club being right, the moment, the squad, everything fitting really, really, really well. So I'm really excited by that.
And I mean, you've only just come back off, I'm sure, what was a really draining season. Is there going to be any rest for you this summer? Is it put down all the way?
Yeah, look, rest isn't on my agenda right now, and I'm okay with that. I'm used to working at a high intensity. I think the boys in the office at Ipswich will be chuckling right now because we set a high level of work and we work at a high tempo, and that's been a superb education for me. Superb education. So lots of that intensity, lots of that work rate is coming with me. My staff share it, and are looking forward to giving that over to the players. Hopefully that transmits through the training ground, through the stadium and onto the pitch. Apologies to Helen Grant, my wife now, and the children. But I have a superbly, really well supported family that they're right behind me in this as well, which is lovely. She's seen lots, she understands it. So looking forward to really diving into the work. Yesterday was a long day, today will be the same. I think that's what's important, getting everything ready and in place for, so we can hit the ground running come the first game of the season.
And as you said to Jamie, you've been working and coaching now for over a decade. We talk of you as a new manager, but you're certainly not a new coach. Mm-hmm. I just wonder though, when the seeds of wanting to be a manager actually started?
A long time ago. So probably by the time I was into my 30s and already down the journey of coaching badges and all the rest of it, it became evident quite quickly that I'd want to lead and I'd want to manage. Now, doing that and getting there is another thing. I've been really fortunate in my journey that I've had some wonderful people help me along the way. But that became quite clear to me quite early on. And I think a lot of that was as a result of the people that helped me on my journey and some really fantastic managers and fantastic coaches that really gave me the inspiration to want to repay that back. So look, hopefully I can get on with doing that really quickly, and the players get a sense of I'm here for them, because that's my job. Help them improve, help them be better humans, better players, and I'm excited to get started with that.
Have you had to discipline yourself a little bit in terms of not jumping in too early, making sure you've served the proper apprenticeship?
Absolutely, because so Martin Pert, who is our assistant manager at Ipswich Town, I spoke long hours with Martin about making the right decisions for the right reasons, and one of the key things he said to me was he's seen lots of people that want to be a manager just for being a manager's sake, and that was absolutely the opposite reason why I'm sat here today. There's lots of things that I want to achieve and do, and as I say, the core of what I'm here for is to help the players and help them achieve their dreams, heights they perhaps never expected to achieve, help them develop in ways they maybe never thought was possible. For some players it will look different to other players, but I'm here for the players, and that's the goal. That's the driving force. That's the mission. And again, really looking forward to getting started with that.
And clearly, for the things you've been talking about, training ground work is going to be really important to you.
Yeah.
So how important will it be to do the bulk of recruitment, all of recruitment, before pre-season starts? How realistic do you think that is?
Yeah, that'd be lovely, wouldn't it? That's the ideal world. The reality is very different because, look, the level of player that Huddersfield Town are pitching themselves for, and the level of player that the Huddersfield Town fans want to see on the pitch at the start of the season demands that we have to do a lot of work to secure those players. And some of those players, unfortunately, will take a lot of time to get through the door. Now, that means that some of this recruitment process leaks into the first few weeks of pre-season and while we're away, etc., etc. I'm okay with that. As I say, we would love to have the bulk of the boys in and ready to work on day one. It's never the case. I'm not sure any football club in the land has ever had that. We'll strive for it, so it won't stop us striving for it, and the club will push, and Jake will push, and Kevin will push for that. But we'll adapt and we'll work around that, and we'll be ready to add those into the group when needed, and hopefully give them enough opportunity to be ready for the start of the season.
Smashing. Good luck with it.
Thank you very much.
Cheers, Stu. We'll just come to Arif Ahmed from ITV to finish off.
Hi, Liam. You've played and worked and coached under some top talented managers and coaches. Have you taken a blend of everything of that you've liked and during your career, taken them bits and sort of stored them to make you the manager that you want to be?
Absolutely. So I've heard it said lots and lots, but you take the bits you like, most definitely. You also have to be careful to leave behind the bits that you don't like. And I've been really lucky actually that, as you said, I've worked under some really top operators, and that's across the whole 20 odd year span of my career. But in terms of my recent history, and 2 or 3 years at Ipswich, and 4 years at Manchester United, I got exposed to some wonderful coaches, some wonderful coaching practice, good process, great way of dealing with people. I've been lucky to, from the likes of Jose Mourinho, be dealt with in such a way that I can learn lessons. So the way that Jose dealt with me and the conversations we had in the office taught me lessons. Same with Kieran, the way Kieran deals with players, the way he has adapted, the way he works, loads in there I want to take. It's also really key and really important that in the middle of all that you can find yourself. And a lot of the work I've been doing over the course of the last 10 years has really been doing that. Who am I as a coach? Who am I as a leader? Who am I as a manager? How do I want to interact with my players? How do I want to interact with my staff? All of those are the questions that have been really high on the agenda for me, amongst many others, as I'm sure you're aware. So look, forming all of that, taking the bits that I like, leaving the bits behind that I don't, all part of the process. I've enjoyed doing that, excited to see the fruits of that now, and hopefully that leaves us in a really good position.
And you've touched on it before, but did you feel the time was right and you were ready to step into management, or was this sort of an opportunity that came up and felt this is now my right time?
Yeah, it's that, and as I say, a real meeting of the timing being right for me, a club that was ready for somebody in my image, somebody who was young and hungry. Young is probably an overestimation actually, but enthusiastic, hungry, intensity to work, all of these things. Huddersfield carried a desire in their process for somebody with those characteristics. Now, I fit the bill, and for me, having a football club that trust and believe in the way I want to work and the way I want to lead, I couldn't be happier about that. I really couldn't. And again, the trust and the belief that they've shown me in terms of the willingness to, bring in really good people alongside me. All of that has been top. So that alignment has led to me making that decision, and excited to get started now.
It might seem small on paper, but the title of manager rather than head coach, how important was that for you?
Well, look, it speaks to the job that I want to do. It speaks to the person I am, and it means that, as I said, the work that's ongoing now is my work, and I'm really happy with that. I'm happy to be the front and the face of what we put forward from this point forward. So that means that I've got to be really sure about everybody that comes in the door, whether that's a staff or player. I've got to be really sure about all of the process that we take from this point forward. But that's not just a solo thing. That's myself, that's Kevin, that's Jake. That's us making sure that we are really clear on how this looks for the football club. And as I say, happy to spearhead that, happy to be the front of house on that. I feel as I'm in a really good position to make strong decisions on behalf of the football club.
And just finally, you've talked about wanting to win lots of football matches, which in turn takes you top of the league and out of this division. Is that the goal and the idea, is to get Huddersfield out of League One as quickly as possible? Yeah,
look, I don't think we're under any illusions with what we have in place and with what we're looking to achieve, that we got to win games this year, and that's the reason I've come here. So if they'd have tried to sell me a project that involved perhaps not winning so many games, perhaps not achieving the things we want to achieve this year, I'm not sure I'd be sat here. So my drive and determination is for us to win lots and lots of football matches, for us to be competing at the right end of the division, for us to be setting a high standard in this league, for us to be a team that can control and dominate football matches, for us to be a team that can compete, do the horrible stuff, do the physical hard yards. Those are the things that I'm looking for this team and from this football club going forward. So lots of work to do to achieve that, but as I said at the beginning, can't wait to get started on it.
Good luck. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Cheers, Arf. Thank you very much, everybody. I'm sure you'll join us in wishing Lee the best of luck for an exciting season ahead.
Thanks, gents.